Hey everybody, let's take a look at the second race day event of the current version 9.3, the LMP Tour. Alright, so there's still 5 days to start the event. Now this one, the PR requirement is a bit higher and it's different depending on which car you choose. On their website, it says just 82.0 is the PR requirement. But as it turns out, if you decide to run through this one using Aston Martin, you actually have to meet PR requirement of 82.1 versus Audi, which is 82. I know, just 0.1 PR point difference. And oftentimes it wouldn't make that big of a difference, and most of these events they make it pretty even playing field for either car you choose. But okay, remember both cars start with the base PR of 73.4, but as you start putting on tuning upgrades, there's a 0.1 PR point discrepancy between the two teams, right? And Aston Martin actually excels. It has higher PR, but the goofy thing happens to meet this PR requirement if you're strictly going with the least amount of gold spent. If you take different strategy for meeting the PR requirement, like using driver upgrade, or team principal, or the combination of the two to lower the cost of actual motorsport dollars that you would have to spend in order to meet the PR requirement, then this doesn't really apply to you. And even the difference with the gold is really not that big of a deal. We're talking the difference of 7 gold. So not a huge deal, but going in, if you are aware of these things, I feel like you would be, less surprised. So just to give you a heads up, basically. So to meet the PR requirement for Audi, which is what I'm going to be running through on this account, because I already won Aston Martin. So for Audi, if you decide to go with, sure, I'll go with Lucas since I've got some XP already built up on him. So this one heavily favors, of course, the top speed and very little on the grip. So I would prefer to have seen more tuning setups in acceleration, but they figure it's not necessary, I guess, as much as the braking. So that's where I feel like the brakes always give you the lesser PR boost. I mean, it costs less also, but it gives you less PR boost. So if you're, the motorsport dollar in your bank is not an issue, then we would prefer to get more in the acceleration to get more PR boost from there. But that is not so, which means we would have to use gold to get this done. So, of course, just like the other event, there's a 3-hour instant R&D on upgrades or tuning setups, and also on servicing of this car. Now it's a 5-stage event. Stage 1 and 2 takes place at Catalunya. First one being this practice session, and then second one being kind of the main event. And then stage 3 and 4 takes place at Spa, kind of the same thing. Stage 3 is the free practice, and stage 4 is the sort of the headlining event. And then final stage with that extra goal, the 5 goal stage, does take place at Le Mans, the not Bugatti circuit, the 24-hour circuit, sort of the proper. Although the last race there, it's little misleading. Once I get through to making the video for that particular goal, you'll see what I'm talking about. But they tell you to win, And when you start the out lap, it says lap 0 out of 1, giving you the impression that you got a full lap to take over whoever's in front of you to win. You're starting in like P5, I think. You have to finish in first place in that out lap. That is the last lap. That's not the, so the benefit of that is the last goal takes less than a minute to finish, and you get paid the full lap's worth of motorsport dollars, a full lap at Le Mans, which is like 21,750 motorsport dollars. So that amount for under a minute is a very good rate of paying. You know what I mean? So that's kind of in your favor. Just so you know, because when I first tried it on my other account, which I already completed, I failed because I thought I had more time. Then I realized, oh, maybe I need to take over everybody right away. It is doable. Your car obviously at that point has all the tuning setups available for the event. And then you actually have to spend a little bit of gold, just tiny bit, to meet the PR requirement. So, as you can see, 3-hour instant R&D and instant service. Right. So base PR 73.4 for Audi here. And you're going to have to get all the tuning setups. I'll do that in the next video. And just to make the process quicker, you know what? I can pause the video while I do this. So let me do that real quick. All right. So, as I was saying, with all 28 tuning setups installed, it'll cost you, oh gosh, how much does this cost? 3,235,900 motorsport dollars. So that is not cheap, obviously. You do get, what, 250,000 back. So your net cost would be, what, just under 3 million, like 2.9 million and change. So that means, let's see, it will take a bit of effort to, like, it'll take 12 days if you're starting from 0 motorsport dollars in your bank right now to meet that, basically be able to afford it if you're surely going by the motorsport dollars, the tuning setup route. Otherwise, if you, obviously there's less than 12 days that you can do this in, even if you wait 5 days till the very last day to initiate the 5-day countdown, you still have only 10 left. So that means for whatever reason, if you are starting from zero motorsport dollars at the moment, then your options are a little bit more limited for obvious reason. But I'm assuming most of you guys probably have more than that amount. I always say you want to float couple of million motorsport dollars in your account at like almost all times, unless you're running through an event like this one right now. Obviously, then it brings down your bank account. But yeah, so this one PR gets up to 81.8, the total of 8.4 PR point boost from getting all the tuning setups. Now, as I said, for Audi, the PR requirement is 82 even. Right, so you can go check into the team principal, 6 gold, and it'll get you right on 82. Now, you can go with the driver level up as well, but it does cost you more. I mean, you do get a couple of extra PR points, but it is 20 gold, which is obviously a bit more than 6 gold that it costs to level up your team principal. So that is the case for Audi here. But if you decide to go with Aston Martin for this event, because you already won the Audi already, then then I was still like, yeah, you should go try to win the other car, you know. But if you did that, if you are doing that, running this event with the Aston Martin, then your PR requirement is going to be 0.1 PR point higher, 82.1, as I said earlier. And when you max out the tuning setup, you also get 0.1 PR point higher PR than Audi here. So you will be at 81.9. But then you might be thinking, well, then the driver XP, or not the driver, but the team principal, the level up should get me up to 82.1 exactly. What's the problem? Well, the problem is, as it turns out, that level 1 to level 2, which cost you 6 gold for either team, here you get 0.2 PR point boost for Audi. On Aston Martin, you get 0.1. So with getting the team principal level up to level 2, you are still short 0.1 PR point from what's required, which means you end up having to spend another 7 gold to bring your team principal level up to 3, basically. So yes, it's not a huge amount, but as I was saying earlier, if you didn't know about it, then you might feel like you've been, on principle, you might feel like you've been cheated or something. I don't know. Just some information there. So, and then for which tunings, like which research focus you go with doesn't really make a difference, by the way. They all give you the same PR boost and it costs the same. So I generally like to focus on either, well, since this one relies heavily on top speed, that may not be a bad idea. Although, remember, this tuning setup or the research focus level up for the team principal applies for both tuning setups, as you're running through the 2009 season with this car, it'll apply. So acceleration, I think, is acceleration and grip are the better ones. More something that directly affects your driving a little bit more, handling, right? That's my thought. Although top speed is always nice to have. Braking, you get the PR point boost, but for the same cost, I would probably put least emphasis on braking. But anyway, so if you get that, then your PR is exactly at 82 for Team Audi. And as it turns out, when you do that with Aston Martin, you end up at 82 as well. Yet they require 82.1. So just something to keep in mind. And in terms of how long the event itself takes to run through, if you just don't take a break and go straight through from the beginning till the end, all 21 goals, then it should take maybe like hour and a half to 2 hours. It's a pretty short event compared to, let's say, the Grinders, the limited time series, right? Like my last run, the Acura NSX championship limited time series took me full 3-hour run. I did take a little bit of a break here and there because it's just not very healthy for anybody to just sit and play games for 3 hours straight. At least that's my thought, but I'm not here to give you health advice, of course. But this one, as I said, doesn't take as long, so you can complete this event within the 3 hours, and then you should have like at least an hour left, which would allow you to actually make some dent in the 2009 LMP 1 season this car and Aston Martin are featured in. Right? So that season is not a short one. That's a pretty lengthy one. From the very get-go, you get like 8-lapper at Catalunya, I think. All the cup race at every venue are all very lengthy. They take good average, I'm gonna say good 10 minutes. And in my book, that is a long race in tier one, or tier one of any event. So they're not messing around with they when they mean endurance prototype, they mean endurance. With the emphasis on endurance, right? So so that's where you can use that I guess, extra leftover time. Now, speaking of that, then you might be wondering, what about the motorsport dollar earnings cap? Because obviously there's a 250,000 motorsport dollar cap every day. So anything that you race beyond that point is, wasted essentially. So this event, you obviously have 250,000 motorsport dollar reward. That does not count against that 250,000 daily cap. So we're talking strictly the actual race earning, right? And if you run through all 5 stages, you should be winning somewhere around 300,000. So yes, that is obviously over 250,000 daily cap by a little bit, maybe 50,000, which isn't too bad. But if you are continuing on with the, like however much instant service time you have left over afterwards to make some dent in the 2009 LMP1 season, then obviously any earnings from there, which is a decent amount because, we're talking like 8-lapper cups, right? So that's about, 80,000 per race, depending on where it is. But I'm just going to round it off as like about 10,000 per lap, which seems fairly common. Catalunya is a little bit under. It's 9,000 something, like 9,200 or something like that. Red Bull Ring also is like, I want to say maybe Catalunya is 9,800 and the Red Bull Ring is 9,200. So those are a little bit under, but still, when you get 8 laps, you get a good amount that you can earn. So, one of the strategies that you can use is kind of dividing up this 3-hour instant service window across the 2 days where basically start this event and basically trigger that 3-hour instant service window maybe a couple of hours before the first day your current day ends. Then you can max out the daily earning from the first 2 hours, and then when it zeroes back down to open up another 250,000 cap for the next day, then you still have extra hour to do it. So in my case, where I am, it's 7 p.m. where the daily cap resets. So if I start at like 5 p.m., which is actually a terrible time for me because, for me, that's a work day. So I generally cannot start at that time. But if I were, then maybe I'll do it on the weekend or something. Then that allows me to complete or near complete the event while maxing out the 250,000 motorsport cap for the first day. And then after 7 p.m., I might have still hour, depending on when I start. Maybe I'll start hour and a half and like 5:30. Then I would have hour and a half prior to the 250,000 motorsport dollar reset, and then I would have another hour and a half afterwards with a new day starting, which would allow me to maximize the instant service offer. I know. That's maybe a little over the top, but trying to make every bit of racing that I do to count towards something. Because as I kind of mentioned, I am not having a very undermotivated these days with this game. So, but anyway, hopefully you guys find this information for this event useful. And then, that'll do it for this video for now. and I will probably just do the cloud restore, so I can try to plan my event somewhat close to what I was telling you guys. Anyway, so the big takeaway, I guess, would be the fact that Aston Martin does cost you more to complete in this event than, say, previous one. So, all right, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, take care.